I'd like to introduce you to Ed Knapp, the Chief Technology Officer at American Tower. Ed, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Scott. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So for those of you not familiar with American Tower, you mind giving us a little bit of background about American Tower and where you fit into the ecosystem?
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, it's fantastic to be here tonight, so thank you, the AST team, for having us join you in this historic evening. American Tower is the leading global tower company, and we operate over 225,000 towers around the world. We also are in the data center business. We work in 25 different countries, and I think part of the business is really about connecting everyone. So our stated mission is to connect everyone everywhere, and it fits so closely to the mission of AST that we're natural partners.
Great. And as I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years, you're a true veteran of the wireless industry. You've got a lot of background. You mind giving us a little sense of kind of how you've seen the wireless industry change over your career, and maybe ultimately how we've come to a point where satellites might make sense to talk directly to regular phones?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in this business for a long time, about 35 plus years in wireless. I've been in engineering systems over 40 years. And in wireless, I started out working on 1G. We put in analog systems. I worked in the New York metro area, building out cell towers in the suburban communities and rooftops, and frankly, the 5 boroughs in New York City. And analog cellular was a tough business, and it was hard to get sites. And fast forward that, I did 2G, 3G, did a number of startups, worked in a company that invented the technology behind 4G, which ultimately got bought by Qualcomm. So I spent a lot of time building networks, looking at the technologies that go behind the networks, including the equipment and infrastructure. And then leading up to 5G, where we did a lot of the research for some of the newer technologies that are coming in today when I was at Qualcomm. But I joined American Tower about 5 years ago because we had an idea about looking at what's the world going to be like beyond towers. And frankly, when you think about the satellite community and how that's transforming the way in which coverage can be extended to areas where frankly towers just may be uneconomic, that's something that really excited me. So in this long career, there's a lot of transformations that occurred. We've gone from analog to digital, we've gone from 1G to 5G, but the same fundamental challenges exist, which is how do we get coverage to all parts of the world so everybody can have the pleasure and the opportunity to be connected to basically society in the way we live and operate today. So it's just been a long journey, and to be here tonight is just super exciting, and it's great to see this technology finally find its way into space, and hopefully to connected phone, in a few months.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we're so happy to have you with us since 2019. Would you mind telling us tell the audience a little bit about how we kind of came to be connected and our kind of history?
Well, it was really you, Scott, that reached out to us, but
that was a layup.
It was fortuitous in some sense because I think you had the vision to think that it was natural for tower companies to be excited about what AST and Abel and the team were thinking about doing. So I first connected with AST back in 2019, so it was about a little over 3.5 years ago. And the vision and the mission was so clear, and the business model also very clear. And then the question was, okay, how is it going to get done? How's the technology going to come together? And so whether it's the spectrum aspects of it or whether it's the underlying principles behind building a large array, those are all just fundamental questions. And once I started digging through that from a technology perspective, it became clear that the team was really far down that path from a thinking and engineering perspective. And then it really became an opportunity to raise the capital to make this a reality. So we wanted to be part of that journey. I think from the first time we met the team, they visited us in Boston at our headquarters at American Tower, and went down to Midland, saw the excitement around putting that facility together. And I think you were part of that early journey with us, thinking about how the company was going to raise the capital to bring this to market. Over the last few years, it's been an interesting ride, and we've been part of that. As an investor, I'm a board member of the company, so I get to see a lot of the things that really are not only the challenges, but the true opportunities in the business as it's becoming reality. And one of the things that really excited me was the fact that the mission fit so well with what we try to do. When we're building terrestrial towers, it's really always a challenge to get the right sites and the right locations, and you don't always get the perfect coverage. And we keep trying to build that frontier further and further, but the reality is there's a complementary mission between what an AST and from a satellite perspective can build coverage and what we need to do to build the service capacity. There's tremendous demand for these capabilities and for these services. And when we looked at that from an American Tower perspective, it seemed natural to get behind that. And I mean, people might have thought, hey, how does a tower company fit? And it was like, for me, obvious that this is something that we should be supportive of and we should be helping find its way. And one of the areas that we thought about strategically was, given our real estate portfolio globally in all the markets, is to take a look at the satellite infrastructure on the ground. So there's a satellite, but there's also gateways that one has to connect to, and then has to be able to then have those gateways connect to the internet, connect to other fundamental components of the telecommunications infrastructure, and we can help make that happen. So that was really where we thought we could add value to it, not just being an investor, but to be strategically aligned with the business.
Yeah, that's great. And one more question, I'll let you get back to the party. In my background as a banker, in telecom, towers is considered the ideal business model. Companies do very well, you're a leader there. It's really attractive. So in that backdrop, why do you guys think about new technologies? How do you think about new technologies? Clearly you're thinking about us, but give us a sense of how you think about kind of what comes next.
Yeah, so my role when I came to the American Tower is really look at the future of technology, think about innovations that are coming to the tower business, but more importantly, how do we extend the tower business into different opportunities related to not only every G of wireless, but the things around the tower, whether it's the infrastructure for the satellite gateways, whether it's fiber networks, whether it's being able to add power as a service. So the broader technology roadmap really is fundamental to wireless and the growth of wireless. It's part of society. It's so embedded in what everybody does, so that we want that connectivity. And when we miss it, it's so hard for folks to even get through their day. So when I think about technology and towers are always going to be there. They're fundamental. But there's always going to be a need to build around the towers new technologies and innovations that help extend that coverage and capacity, because we have a common mission in the sense that we want to support our customers, which are the mobile operators. The mobile operators are the ones that really are trying to serve the consumer and the businesses. And when we think about their needs, some of those require common infrastructure, shared infrastructure, what we call neutral host. And the satellite system from AST and the towers is so fundamentally the same when it comes to being a neutral host, so that people could share infrastructure that would be hard for them to do on their own. So that's kind of where I think a lot of these pieces come together. So towers and satellites will cooperate, will work together. We can see coverage indicating where capacity needs to be, capacity being filled in with a tower, offloading a satellite, satellites creating more opportunities for demand, and this symbiotic relationship could exist for quite a long time. And I think that's the nature of sort of our relationship and how we view AST. We're very excited about the business. Abel and the team have done fantastic work on the engineering side, and we look forward to tonight's launch. It's super exciting to be here, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us, Ed.